All right, everybody, what is up, man? Welcome back to Watch Darius TV. I'm back with another review, and this one is of South Park, season 25, episode 4, Back to the Cold War. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, share the video for all things South Park. Let's begin with this review. So the episode starts with Mr. Garrison telling the students about him and Rick. They got into like some type of argument, and they're basically more worried about Putin. And Mr. Garrison, of course, is thinking about something else, as you can see. Talking about whatever intimate things going on between him and the dude he's with. But anyway, students are told to prepare for like some type of Russian attack. Now, for me personally, this episode came out back like March of this year, and we all know March was a crazy part of this year. Everything from the whole Russian stuff to Will Smith going upside Chris Rock's head. It was a lot of weird stuff going on this month. And I remember when this happened, this whole Russian Ukraine stuff, and it was pretty wild. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of shook. It kind of reminded me back in early 2020 when Trump, I don't know, he did something to some world leader, and he like sent a missile strike or whatever, and we were all thinking it was another World War III coming, and so this stuff kind of shook me too. I mean, now we're in October, and I haven't heard much about Russia besides Brittany Griner, I think her name is. That she's in the Russian prison. Besides that, I haven't heard much about Russia, so I guess everybody that moved on and forgot all about that. Now we're concerned about monkeypox and stuff like that. But anyway, when this stuff happened, I was pretty shook too. I was like, this is kind of crazy. But speaking of shook, the kids were shook also in this episode. Mr. Mackey had them running into the gym and stuff like that, and scaring the crap out of them over some attack from Russia, and uh, then this episode ends up basically going into being about Butters getting into horseback riding, but they also mix in the whole theme of Russian spies and Russia attacks throughout this episode. Butters' parents, of course, they've always throughout the series always been really hard on him and stuff like that. Because he would be competing against a Russian kid, basically that has a horse. So it's supposed to be like a metaphor for America versus Russia. PC Principal thinks Mr. Mackey is pretty much enjoying the drills that he's putting the kids through to prepare for a Russian attack. Butter's parents wants him to win against the Russian kid and his horse that's called Melancholy. Even though his horse Melancholy pretty much does nothing but poop and gets an erection. That's about it. That's all Butter's horse does. So okay, Mr. Mackey is stalking PC Principal, ignoring Butter's problems and stuff like that till Butters brings up the horse and his Russian rival going on. So now Mr. Mackey goes into this whole hunt for a Russian spy and all this other weird stuff. Butters tries to attack Melancholy. Butters tries to talk to Melancholy, but the horse spends the whole episode doing nothing but pooping and boning. That's about it. He does just poop and bone. That's all the horse does. But I guess that's what horses do. Mr. Mackey and Butters' parents all had a plan to go to the Russian horse and I guess try to sabotage the whole race. Mackey thinks PC Principal is some type of Russian spy. Butters' parents wanted to give the horse diarrhea. Clearly, the wrong horse got diarrhea because Butters' horse Melancholy is the one that's pooping all episode. But Mr. Mackey goes back to his old room to prepare for some Russian attack, and his room clearly hasn't changed. The government is going crazy because Mr. Mackey is sending them talking about Russia is about to attack and all sorts of stuff like that. And then some Russian soldiers end up telling Putin about the Americans, and Putin is just dancing in his room shirtless. South Park makes fun of any type of person that might be a threat to America. They made jokes about I think Osama and all that stuff like that back when I think it was earlier in the series. They had like I don't know if it was Osama or Saddam Hussein. I don't know which one of them, but they had like some relationship with Satan or something like that. So now they're making jokes with Putin and having him dancing shirtless and all sorts of stuff like that. Even though let's be real here, we all were pretty shook when this whole weird Russian Ukraine stuff was going on, but leave it to South Park to be able to find some type of humor in it. So, Mr. Raki. Then a Russian tells Putin about the Americans, and Putin, I guess he's dancing shirtless. Mr. Mackey and his mom, they talk about his pee pee. She gives him some sort of motivational speech, and yeah, okay. And then Melancholy fights for democracy, as people think with Butter's parents. They all think that he's fighting for democracy when he ends up deciding to hump the Russian horse and make the rider fall off. And Butters ends up sort of just winning his horseback riding, I guess, race or whatever, tournament or whatever it was. Then Mr. Mackey makes it all about himself by getting up there and having some grabbing a microphone, putting an American sheet around him, give some motivational speech. Was that? I guess that was really a reference to Rocky after Rocky fought the big Russian dude. I forgot his name. Well, I guess was that supposed to be a reference to that? I'm not sure. And then that was it. That was the episode. So I don't know. I guess this episode was basically sort of a metaphor for what was going on a few months ago with the whole Russian Ukraine stuff and about how us Americans was, I guess, possibly going to be ending up in some Cold War. I guess that's what this episode was supposed to be like a reference to. And I don't know what I could say about it. I mean, it was an entertaining episode. I didn't really think it was that funny, but it was interesting. It was just it's like a regular South Park episode. I love it when South Park does makes references to things going on in the world. They always have done that. So yeah, it was a cool commentary on what was going on back in March. Thank God nothing's happened from that. I haven't heard anything about no crazy stuff going on besides all the whatever's going on between Russia and Ukraine. But yeah, the episode was a cool metaphor to what was going on. If you ever I guess want to know what's going on in the world and you refuse to watch the news, just watch South Park. They will have some type of commentary, parody of what's ever going on in the world, and add some humor to it. So shout out to South Park. But I don't know much to say about this episode. It was decent, so it wasn't really that funny, but it was entertaining. I seen them do a reference to what was going on back in March. But yeah, that's it. So if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, share the video for all things South Park, and thanks for watching my video.